Hi, boys and girls. We're ready to read chapter 11 called A Noise in the Night. We now know Worm's story and how he came to be with the king. Wasn't a very good one, but we know that he has endured some things that kind of, I want to say, are almost the same as Drake, right? They were both taken from their families, taken to a new place. They don't know what's going on. So let's see. I definitely think there's a bond between the two of them. A Noise in the Night. As you read, remember, we're going to follow the text as we read. This time you are going to underline important ideas and circle words you may not know. Here we go. Good job cleaning Worm's scales, Drake, Griffith said, walking into the cave. Drake wasn't going to say anything about Worm, what Worm had shown him. Not yet, but he did have a question for Griffith. How did the dragons get here, he asked. The king's soldiers searched far and wide, Griffith replied. It's not easy to find a dragon. Most people have never seen one, but the king did not give up. His soldiers were able to capture these 4. What did the dragons want? But did the dragons want to come here? Drake asked. The king does not always think about what dragons want, Griffith said darkly. Now come, it's time for supper. After they ate, Bo and Drake went to their rooms. Bo was teaching him how to write the alphabet. Boys and girls, that's so kind of Bo. I see how they're becoming great friends. Bo drew a capital D and a lowercase d. See, Bo said, the big D looks like a dragon with a big belly. He drew a picture on the paper. Like Vulcan, Drake said with a laugh. Bo laughed too. Moonlight glinted off of Bo's dragon stone. It reminded Drake of something he wanted to ask Bo about. Does your stone ever glow? Drake asked. Bo shook his head. No, he said. Why do you ask? It's just a thought. I thought I saw mine glow once, Drake said, when I was with Worm. That's interesting, Bo said. You should tell Griffith. Drake nodded. Tomorrow, he said. Drake wrote rows of letter D before he went to sleep. He thought he would dream of D's or maybe of Worm again. But just after he climbed into bed, thunk, Drake heard a loud noise. He sat up and saw 2 figures standing by Bo's bed. Who could these 2 mysterious figures be? Well, as you're reading, you're going to remember that we are going to be doing our comprehension for this chapter, and we have to think about the word capture and glinted. What do those 2 words mean? Remember, go back to the story and see what it says in the context of the story. The first question asks, how did the dragons get to the castle? I remember reading about that right at the beginning when Drake asked Griffith how the dragons had gotten there. He said that on page 62, it tells you right at the top. So let's go back and think. Now, look at what it's asking us to do. Boys and girls, we used to do this in class all the time. It says text to self connection. We did text to text, text to self, text to the world. Well, here they're asking us to do a text to self connection. And that text to self connection is, the king sent the soldiers to capture the dragons and dragon masters. Do you think that was very fair? Why or why not? Now remember to answer in a complete sentence. I don't think it's very fair, or I do, and tell me why. Give me a reason. Don't just say yes or no. Remember, it says why or why not. That's going to be part of your grade. You have to put the follow-up to that. The next question says, has Bo's stone ever glowed? And here's where it's asking us to figure out if Bo's stone has ever glowed. It did talk about that in the story. In fact, it talked about that on page 63. So go back and check. And the last question is, why do you think, who do you think is standing over Griffith's bed? Remember, there's 2 mysterious figures standing over Griffith's bed. Who do you think they are? Boys and girls, happy reading, and we'll read chapter 12 tomorrow.